date in 1963, the WWF held a show in New Haven, Connecticut. Buddy Rogers defended the WWF World Heavyweight title against Bobo Brazil. In 1978, at CWF Super Bowl of Pro Wrestling, superstar Billy Graham went against Harley Race in a 2-out-of-3 falls match with the NWA title and the WWF title on the line. To show just how much wrestling has changed over the years, these are just some of the weekly shows that aired on this date in 1986. World of Sport were back on ITV with Pat Roach vs Johnny Kincaid, Ray Steele vs Jill Singh, and then in the finals of the night, Jill Singh faced off against Pat Roach. In the US, NWA's World Championship Wrestling show had the Barbarian vs George South, Ron Bass vs Mike Simani, Ivan Koloff vs Patrick Tanaka, Raging Bull vs Tommy Zayn, the Rock and Roll Express took on Thunderfoot and Bob Owens, Nikita Koloff took on Bob Brown, Jimmy Valiant went up against Paul Garner, Beautiful Bobby took on Wee Willie Wilkins, Ron Garvin went up against Mark Hawk, Black Bart took on Josh Stroud, Baron Von Raschke went up against Rocky King, and Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson faced off against the Italian Stallion and Don Canoodle. The Mid-Atlantic's weekly show, the Midnight Express took on King and Italian Stallion, the Barbarian faced off against Gene Ligon, Ronnie Garvin took on George South, Sam Houston went up against the Golden Terror, Nikolai Koloff took on Mac Jeffers, Tully Blanchard was up against Pat Tanaka, and the Rock and Roll Express went up against Burke and Zane. Then, on CWA's weekly show, Larry Hamilton faced off against the Invader, the AWA's Southern Tag Team Champions, the Fanatics, took on the team of Pat Rose and Tony Falk. Buddy Landell and Dutch Mantell faced off against Billy Travis and David Haskins. Dirty Rhodes took on Keith Eric, and in the main event of the show, Bill Dundee took on Tracy Smothers. On this date in 1987, whilst wrestling in AWA, a very young Shawn Michaels had his very first single matchup against Frankie DeFalco. New Japan Pro Wrestling held a new Spring Gold Series 1990 show. This show consisted of matches that included Owen Hart vs Black Tiger 1, Jushin Thunder Liger vs Akira Nagami, and a main event of Big Van Vader vs Masahiro Chono. WCW's Clash of Champions 30 took place at Caesars Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada, in front of 3,200 fans. Arn Anderson took on Johnny B. Bard for the WCW World Television title. Booker T and Stevie Ray faced off against Marcus Bagwell and the Patriot for the WCW World Tag Team titles. And in the main event, Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage took on Kevin Sullivan and The Butcher. At WCW Sold Out pay-per-view in 1997, 5,000 fans got to witness one of the strangest shows in history. It was all based around the NWO with biased commentary and biased ring announcers. On the show, Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner beat the Outsiders, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, to walk away with the WCW World Tag Team titles. Eddie Guerrero beat Syxx in a ladder match for the WCW United States title. Then Hulk Hogan went to a no contest with the Giant for the WCW World Heavyweight title. The Monday Night Wars clashed on this date in 1999. This was the Monday after Vince McMahon had won the Royal Rumble. While in the ring, he forfeited his shot at WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels, who was the commissioner at the time, then booked a steel cage match between Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin to take place at the next month's pay-per-view, St. Valentine's Day Massacre. On the Nitro show, there's a 15-minute match between Bret Hart and Booker T. Goldberg took on Scott Norton, and in the main event of the night, Chris Benoit, Ric Flair and Steve McMichael took on the team of Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner in a 6-person tag team match. The WWE held their Royal Rumble event in 2004 in front of over 17,000 fans. On the show, Brock Lesnar easily beat Hardcore Holly in just 6 minutes 30 seconds for the WWE Championship. Triple H and Shawn Michaels went to a draw in the last man standing match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Chris Benoit became the second man to win the Royal Rumble from the number 1 spot after outlasting The Big Show, John Cena, Rikishi, Goldberg, Kurt Angle and many more. The Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, Michigan was the home of the Royal Rumble on this date in 2009. On the show, Melina pinned the current champion Beth Phoenix to come home with the WWE Women's Championship. Edge came home with the gold after pinning Jeff Hardy in a no disqualification match for the WWE Championship. Then Randy Orton outlasted 29 other competitors to be declared the winner at the Royal Rumble match. Then, in 2020, NXT held their When Worlds Collide event in the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Jordan Devlin defeated Angel Garza, Isaiah Swerve Scott, and Travis Banks in a fatal 4-way match for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Rhea Ripley successfully defended the NXT Women's title against Toni Storm. Then in the main event, Alexander Wolf, Fabian Aichner, Marcel Barthel and Volta beat the team of Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong.